Welcome to the Awakening Table. We are Calliope and Petros, and we created this channel as a means to share our experience of going through the dark night of the soul, currently as we sit here and speak, and doing this through open, raw discussion at the dinner table. We do this knowing others are going through it, and we hope that sharing our experiences may help you with your journey.
If you enjoy our videos and content, please show us some love by hitting like and subscribe and notification bell to be notified when a new video is out. Thank you. Today we'll be talking about loneliness and isolation, fear and why it happens, and necessity for it.
Yeah, with the focus being on loneliness and isolation and what comes through when you're going through that. Boy, this topic is a tough one because one of the things that make the whole dark night of the soul so difficult is that feeling of loneliness and isolation. It's one of the first things that I felt the heaviest and the hardest. I don't know, did you?
Yes, I felt the isolation was very hard. Like that was really hard because I didn't know what was going on, like during COVID, let's say. I was writing through it first, and then the loneliness came about because it's like it hit the whole world. So it's like that was a very tough one because you really feel alone at that point.
Yeah, and I imagine COVID made that loneliness and isolation feel even worse, if it's even possible to do that, because you are, especially here in Melbourne, we were very isolated, being the most locked down city in the world. If you're going through that dark night of the soul as well during it, that would just be, let's be honest, that would feel like a nightmare.
Yeah. And if you're living by yourself, because I live by myself, like I was like, whoa, damn. I was thinking, even for old people that are alone, or people that don't have anyone, or how would they feel, because I've been there, so, and it was very tough, very tough.
It's interesting because it's not that I don't have people in my life. I've got good people, family, friends. I've got a job, a career. It's not that I'm alone, but there's this loneliness that just takes you over. And the best reason I can come up with it for being there, and let me know what you think as well, and let us know below what you think as well, is that this is such a deep personal journey or experience. And not just that, it's, if you're going through it, doesn't mean everyone else is going through it. So you're going through something that is, there are other people out there going through it, but you might be the only one within your sphere of connections that's going through it right now, or at the stage that you're in right now. And as we said, it's a very personal journey, one that only you can fulfill. No one can jump in and fulfill it for you. And when you don't know, when you're in that in between stage as well, because you're also, the self you once knew is no longer there. And we'll talk a bit more about that in another video coming up. But but you haven't connected with the new self yet, or the new life, the new passions, the new purpose, and all of that. But you've got to navigate through this dark night of the soul on your own, and you don't have any answers really. You don't have the what's, the whys, the hows, the whens, and all of these things that your ego will then just throw up in your mind as well, which don't necessarily help.
Yeah, you're just throwing the negatives to add on to the loneliness, and and then, but it keeps you determined as well if you're really willing to face it and accept it and go through it. But it's not fun overall. But yeah,
you become, you have all the standard spiritual existential questions. Why me? Who am I? What's all this about? What is the point? And I won't lie, there were times where I thought it'd just be easier to end it and not to go through it. But then there's this little voice that says, don't be silly. There's a reason you're going through this and you're heading towards something great. Now, let me tell you, going through this, and I still feel this loneliness and the anxiety and fear that comes with it, because you do get anxious and fearful because you think, can I do this? Can I get through this? But during the time, you might not think you're moving towards something great, but then every now and then, and we'll talk about synchronicities in the universe in another video, you get this little flash, this little feeling, this little download that just lets you know it's okay.
Yeah.
But going through it, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about why, go a little bit deeper with the why we go through it or why it's necessary. Even when you talk to someone about what you're going through, you still feel on the outer very much.
Yes.
Because, well, you're still going through it. Until you get through it, you're going through it.
And plus, you don't even know what's going on in your own mind. You're like, how do you even approach it to a friend or
Yeah.
it's like we don't even have the answers or the questions or the right questions that to ask ourselves, let alone ask a friend. And that's why you feel a little bit even more lonelier.
Yeah. As we say in our video about the relationships and your relationships during Dark Night of the Soul, you need to be careful who you approach and talk to and open up to with these things. And look, it's great to do it. Do it. Talk to somebody that you feel comfortable talking to, but know that you'll still have those feelings there. Maybe not straight after, but eventually, because you're still going through the journey. I think one of the hardest things to learn and understand about all of this, because it is a very scary thing. You do start having anxieties about your ability to survive, your health, and all of these things when you're feeling vulnerable and stripped down, bare and raw, is to know that it's okay.
Yes.
If you do the work, which is one foot in front of the other, you'll get there and it'll be okay.
Yeah. And you do have that voice, that inner voice that says everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be okay. Just keep, like whatever you feel comfortable with doing for yourself. Only yourself knows. Like whether is it to do things that you like, doing, or find new things to do, new habits, new changes, new activities. To better that loneliness. That way you're not alone. You feel like you can find yourself a little bit more by trying different things. That makes sense. Yeah.
And that's very key. Something that I guess if there's some, not if, but some positives out of all of this, for me, I know that I started to really value and understand the power of connection. And it's not just connection with others, existing relationships, or going out and meeting new people, but it's developing a connection with yourself. It'll take time, because in my case, for many, many years, arguably my whole life, I didn't have the connection I thought I had with myself. And that's a really tough realization to come through. And with that came a lot of disappointment for me. I realized I hadn't stepped up to life as much as I thought or wanted to. And, that's another thing that I'm dealing with. It's part of my purging of traumas that I'm dealing with at the moment, is that disappointment and that sense of reduced confidence and trust in myself. And, part of my journey in getting through this, and again, that adds loneliness and isolation, is resolving that in due course. And so, as I said, the two positive things that for me I've realized is the importance of connection with yourself and others, the importance of going out and doing things, exploring. Yes, take time to feel your emotions and all of that and work through them, but there's a line where if you cross it, then you're just all you're doing is just cooking in it all, and you're just going down a dark rabbit hole. So get out and do things, explore things, even things you wouldn't have once done before. Positive things, of course.
Yeah.
Go out and explore, do things, meet new people, see what you find out about yourself, and challenge yourself, put yourself out there as well.
I guess that's where where the fear develops as well, on top of the loneliness, because like when you start to make changes, you're getting out of your comfort zone, and then you're starting a little bit fresh. So just coming out there and slowly finding who you are, because you kind of forget the old you, and the things that you used to be, like maybe the person you were before was the one that was confident, and then somehow we lost in touch with ourselves. And
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons you can't go back to that is you've awakened. And when you've awakened, you've realized that the old self either no longer cuts it for the next phase of your journey, or wasn't serving you as well as you thought. And so you can't ever go back to that, no matter how much you try. But then, for whatever period of time, and time doesn't exist in this thing, you're no one. You're no one in the sense of you've lost your sense of identity. And again, we're going to have a video dedicated on that, purely ego and loss of identity and all of that. But you're this almost this empty being, this disconnected empty vessel that now has to journey through arguably the toughest, most uncomfortable thing they'll ever go through, and get to the other side, which is the newer, better, more authentic, wiser, greater self and greater quality of life. And it's like, well, how the hell do you do that?
Yeah, you gotta live in the moment. And trust me, like there's times where you like have quiet moments, sad moments, like thinking moments. And then, once you get a little bit closer, once you dig deep, you change a bit of your habits and your mind, the way your mind processes. And trying to like get rid of the old negative thoughts out of your head by replacing it with like positive thoughts.
Yeah, one thing I sort of say, if I've, because I still go down the dark rabbit hole, as they say at times, but I'm getting better at challenging that, accepting that, okay, I'm having a dark thought, but then challenging it and say, well, okay, what's the best that can happen, right? Because in society, we tend to ask, well, what could go wrong? Or what's the worst that can happen? Flip it around, but what's the best that can happen? And even if you can only hold the positive thought for 2 seconds, flip it around, flip the negative thought around, and just see, well, what would it look like if it was the opposite of the negative? Whatever the positive is for you. These are little hacks that I'm still perfecting, by the way, but that do help. They do help you get through to that next 10 seconds, that next 60 seconds, or that next half day, full day.
The beauty about all this, like tomorrow's another day. So make the most of today. And I know it gets a bit hard, it gets tough, because you're thinking, why am I here? Why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to feel this way? But I think it's just also strengthening yourself, to overcome the fear, the factor of the fear, and the loneliness, anything that's holds you back. So it's like builds you up from balancing that. Yeah.
Maybe let us know in the comments below things you've done to try and get through, when the loneliness and isolation has gotten heavy for you. What one or two things that you've done to help you get through, whether it's to get through the next 10 seconds, the next half day, full day, whatever the case may be. And let us know. So the isolation, the loneliness, it feels like hell intensified, but think of it as a dough maker. Puts all these ingredients in, and then it goes through this tumultuous kneading and rolling and slamming to get this nice, beautiful, fluffy, tasty pizza dough. Right? That's what's happening to you now. What's happening to us, or to me at least, it's still happening. And it's okay. So you're becoming a nice, fluffy, tasty pizza, okay?
I'm really getting hungry now. I think talking about pizza.
I know. It's not like I haven't eaten either. It's like I have eaten, and now I'm talking about food. A nice pizza would go well. But just stick with it. Talk. If you're going to see a professional, see a professional. But understand, it's just a process. It's not the end of the world. It's not a negative thing. It's only if you stop doing the work, and only if you allow the dark rabbit hole to become your truth or reality, or to take you over, that's when it perhaps becomes negative.
Yes.
But outside of that, it's actually, and again, I know it doesn't feel it, but it's a positive thing. You just got to have Bloody patience. There it is.
Patience.
There it is again. That patience, I tell you.
It's a virtue.
But you've got to have patience,
Yes.
right? As much as I cringe when I say that. But in time, and take the pressure of having a clock over your head.
Yeah.
Time is not ticking. Not
Yeah.
for this. This happens in its own time as it needs to happen.
Yeah. Trust me, you're gonna feel that way because, like, I felt like there was a time, like oh my gosh, what I gotta do, but
And that's
like,
the ego.
yeah.
But this is beyond the ego.
Yeah.
This is far deeper and higher than the ego.
Yeah.
And the ego does this to put you off because it's scared. It knows its power is dissolving or diminishing. Whenever we'll get fully rid of our ego, but it's about not letting the ego dictate and dissolving its power, minimizing its power, and letting the authentic us come through. And that's what we're doing. That's why you might, and I was just prior to starting the recording of this video, I was just having this conversation with Calliope saying that I think part of the challenge is stepping up to who you're becoming. And one of my challenges in all of this is that goes against what I'm heading towards is I actually feel intimidated about who I'm becoming. And, there's still those remnants or nuances of the old self that says, I couldn't possibly become that surely. And that goes against, it creates a conflict between that thinking and where I'm heading. Whether I like it or not, I'm heading there, which in itself is a positive, but it doesn't feel it at the moment. So there's this conflict of the, oh my God, I couldn't possibly become that person versus the universe saying that you are. You're going there. You're either going there willingly or forcefully. And that's what I'm feeling. I want to become that person, but I'm still developing that. I don't know, the courage, the strength, the know-how, the practicality.
I think it's like we're actually through the process is like we're learning all the let's say building blocks. Yeah. And then like things that we didn't know how to learn, like patience, for example, develop that for me, and for yourself. That's a tough one. It's a challenge. So it's kind of good that we're developing it, learning it, frustrated with it. But it's like it's a growth process. So yeah,
it is.
Each lesson or each challenge or each experience, dark or not, it helps you grow. So correct. That's the beauty about it.
Correct.
Even though it doesn't feel like that way, but that's the truth.
Yeah. So stick with it. Chat with us below. Let us know your thoughts. Talk to family, friends that you can trust, or to a professional. But know in time you'll be right. Just keep doing things, exploring things you've once enjoyed or think you might enjoy now. Go out and do things. Don't fester in the negativity. Don't get sucked in by the negative thoughts because they're just thoughts and they're not a true reality at all. And
don't wait for anyone else to do it for you because this journey is your journey. So just take chances and experience it. And even if you fall over, it doesn't matter. You're gonna pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again.
Gee, where have I heard that before?
Yeah, I know.
Now I've got that tune in my head. Have you? Good. Let us know if you got that tune in your head now. Okay. Well, I think that's a good place to finish, isn't it?
I agree.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Be sure to subscribe, to like, and hit the notification bell to be notified when another video comes. We've certainly got a lot of videos to come, and hopefully you'll enjoy them as much and equally and get a lot out of them.
Yeah. And have a great day.
Have a great day.
Stay positive and true to yourself and all. And also, we can have that pizza.
Why not? Why not? Peace be with you. Thank you.